Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Welcome to It's Still Real to Me. I am your host, John Kuchar, aka Jonny Fashion. Harmon is not here with me. I know I always say with me, as always, is Harmon. Harmon is not here with me tonight, unfortunately. But just wanted to give you guys a little something. So it'll be a quick one tonight. It's just me solo. It's been a little while. Feels like it's been forever since the It's Still Real to Me gruesome twosome plus gang gave you something. So wanted to give you a little something. We've had some personal stuff going on with personally with me, like with my sister-in-law. She's been quite ill for the last couple weeks since giving birth to twins. Congratulations again, Courtney. But she's had some complications with that. So I've been a little preoccupied with that. Harmon also dealing with a similar issue. He is a new uncle, and his niece or nephew was in and out of the hospital. So we've just had some personal stuff going on. But everybody seems to be doing well now. Everything's good. We are back on track. Unfortunately, though, Harmon could not be here tonight, so it's just going to be me. Going to be a quick one. I have some notes that I'll be referencing. New England Patriots hat on tonight. Free Brady. Tom Brady is free for the time being, and looking forward to that. Season starting on Thursday. Steelers going down, and I'm sitting in a weird rocking chair. I don't usually sit in this, but I'm channeling my inner Bray Wyatt. So speaking of wrestling, we're not here to talk about Patriots. We're here to talk about pro wrestling, because that's what this is. It's a pro wrestling podcast, so let's get right into it. First thing I wanted to talk about was Bret Hart made some remarks earlier in the week. He did a Periscope, which I haven't done in quite some time. I got bored with it real fast, but Bret Hart did a Q&A, little Periscope, and some people were asking him some questions about Hulk Hogan. And he definitely had some things to say. He said that Hulk Hogan is a phony piece of shit. Quote. He also said that he thinks that Hulk Hogan is glad that Roddy Piper died because it took the heat off of Hogan's situation. Now, I have always been a Bret Hart fan. He probably is, if not my favorite wrestler, one of my favorite wrestlers. I love Bret Hart. I think that he is amazing, and he was great in the ring. He was okay. Oh, speaking of babies, my son is crying. My wife's going to take care of it. Bret Hart, he was amazing, and he kind of got the raw end of the deal towards the end there with the kick from Goldberg, but he seems to be kind of a bitter old man nowadays. And not trying to bash Bret Hart, but he's very opinionated, and most of the time it's all right, but he kind of speaks the truth. But I don't know, man. I mean, and maybe the stuff about Hogan is true that he's saying, but it just seemed like it could have just gone really unsaid. I mean, the stuff about Roddy Piper was definitely out of line. It's not really cool to talk about somebody who's passed on, especially a legend like Roddy Piper, who Bret said during that Periscope that he kept in touch with a lot, and that he had a great relationship with. So I don't know, really dropping his name like that was just kind of, it rubbed me the wrong way, even though I'm a huge Bret Hart fan. I was just like, oh man, come on, like, keep it classy, stay classy, San Diego. But I don't know. I'm still torn on the Hogan stuff. We just don't know. I mean, if I was a fly on the wall and could see everything and hear everything, then I might have a different opinion. But I have such a deep-hearted love for Hulkamania ever since I was a kid. Granted that as I got older, that has kind of diminished a little bit with, me knowing a little bit of the insider, side of the business, but in how he politically played a lot of things. But I don't know, man. It's hard to really, let go of that. What's the word I'm looking for? That I don't know, just that nostalgic feeling that you get when you see the red and yellow. It's hard to let it go. So I don't know. I think Bret, it was a little out of line for Bret. He had some other good things to say on the Periscope. That some of the questions were really good that he answered. He mentioned Tyson Kidd a lot. Praised Tyson Kidd for being just an amazing worker, and in hopes that he gets to come back soon. I'm a huge Tyson Kidd fan myself. I cannot wait for him to come back. I really hope that he comes back and gets to wrestle again. It's such a sad thing that happened to him with his neck injury with Samoa Joe. It would be a real shame to see somebody like that with such talent, and it was really hitting his stride. I think that was the best Tyson Kidd we had ever seen. He was really just at the peak of his career. I mean, far surpassing the run that he had years ago with David Hart Smith. They had a WrestleMania moment in their tag champs and stuff. But I think this run was just great. He was so much better in the ring this time around than he was back then, and it's just a shame what happened to him. So Bret Hart kind of went on with that a little bit, but I don't know. I found it to be weird. It was kind of all over the place, as Periscope is, because you have like a billion people asking you questions. Well, I mean, if you're Bret Hart, if you're me doing a Periscope, you have like 10, and it's always like, "Hey man, Roman Reigns is awesome." So I don't know. It must be hard when it's just all these questions. But Bret handled it well. It was a little awkward. He definitely showed his age, not being able to kind of handle it all. But he did well. He asked questions, and he picked the ones that he wanted to answer. He clearly had a lot to say about Hulk Hogan, and expressed his opinion on it. So what else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, Raw. I watched Raw today from last night. I have Hulu. I don't pay for cable because it's outrageous and contracts and stuff that you have to commit to in my area. So I subscribe to Hulu, and I watch a 90-minute version of Raw every Tuesday morning. This was the first time that I was very thankful that it was limited to 90 minutes. It could have been 10 minutes for all I cared. That was a atrocious episode of Raw. It was pure garbage. The only thing that was semi-decent throughout the entire episode was Seth Rollins and Sting. I thought was very intriguing. I really liked that feud. I like Sting, doing the backstage segments, playing, kind of like Joker Sting almost from a couple years back in TNA. Like it was like the same thing where he's just kind of going around doing backstage, pranks and antics, and not so much, Stinger, WCW, Crow stuff, and being silent. It was fun to see him kind of cut some backstage promos, and ultimately near the end there, like throw the trophy in the dumpster. That was fun. That was the only shining moment of the whole episode. Everything else was just garbage. The Ziggler Rusev stuff, the whole like weird TMZ promo that was a package that was kind of delivered, was really, really weird, really bad. It was just really cringeworthy. I was watching it by myself this morning, eating breakfast, just cringing at what it was. And the weird thing is, it takes a lot, because I understand wrestling and I understand it, sports entertainment. I understand what it is and what they're trying to do. And I always look for moments to show other people who are not fans. For instance, I've shown multiple people who are not fans, like NXT wrestling. I'll show them the NXT women's wrestling, because it'll blow their mind. They're like, wow, that's really good. I remember showing people, Cesaro and Sami Zayn on NXT from, doing like a best 2 out of 3 falls or something. And people that were not into wrestling, some of my friends who were not into it, they were like, that was insane. That was crazy. And granted, like some of them got into it a little bit more. Some of them just didn't, but they enjoyed the match. But like the Ziggler-Rusev stuff, I would be extremely embarrassed to show that to anybody who is not a fan. And I'm always a little skeptical to show non-fans things and say like, oh, this is what it is. You know, this is pro wrestling. But that last night, that was pure garbage. That was not pro wrestling. That wasn't even sports entertainment. That was not even entertainment. That was just gross. And I don't care to see it again. It's really poor acting from everybody. I mean, it's like I always want to say wrestling's like the male soap opera, and it is, but it's damn good most of the time. And that was terrible. Just Summer Rae sobbing and Lana just, I don't know. And Ziggler, as much as I love Ziggler, like the guy just can't really act. You know what I mean? It's just, I've never seen his stand-up comedy. Say what you will about it, but God, I hope it's better than his acting chops, because he's pretty terrible. And Rusev, it's kind of hard to grade Rusev, just because he's kind of like a, you know, he doesn't say much. I don't know, like even he's bad, I guess. I don't know. It just doesn't, none of it meshes. It's just garbage. I don't know why I'm even talking about it still, but it's gross. It almost reminds me of a couple years back when Bischoff had the HLA, Hot Lesbian Action, and it reminded me a lot of that, because when people are very like self unaware of things, like Bischoff, that was garbage. That was such a garbage segment or storyline with him and the Hot Lesbian Action. Like they just kept pushing it, and this Ziggler stuff reminds me a lot of that, where like this should have been stopped, you know, 2 months ago, a month ago, probably. It should never have gotten this far, but they just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And it just, every week the fans are like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is garbage. What is happening? We don't want to see this. You know, we don't even want to see these guys wrestle again. You know, you had this big SummerSlam moment. It should have been a finale for this feud, and it ended in a double count out. It's just silly. And then we have to endure this TMZ soap opera-esque really shitty storyline just week in and week out now. It's insulting almost, you know, it's really insulting. It's like, I was thinking about it earlier, and to go back to my reference with the Eric Bischoff Hot Lesbian Action thing, it's like a really drunk buddy at a bar where he's getting really obnoxious, and he thinks it's awesome. He thinks everything he's saying is funny and everything he's doing is funny, and he thinks everybody else is loving it, but nobody likes it. Nobody likes the jokes he's making. Nobody likes that he's, you know, air humping the waitress like behind her back. Like, nobody likes that shit except for him. And that's what I feel like that Eric Bischoff segment was back in the day, and that's what I feel like this Ziggler segment is now, where people are like, oh, this is cool, like we're gonna get into this. No one's getting into this. This could be over. They could abruptly just end this segment with no explanation, which usually I hate. Usually I'm like, what the hell, just no explanation? Okay. They could do that right now and I wouldn't feel a thing. I'd be like, God, thank God that's over, you know. But anyway, that had a big part of me hating Raw. So there's that. The tag team division, losing Los Matadors, don't care. You know, I don't see what's going to happen with that. I mean, people are saying that they're going to get repackaged. Does it matter? I don't understand it. They're never going to be anything but lower to mid card, either as a tag team or you know, as singles competitors. They're just not. They don't stand out. You know, there's nothing racial about it. It's just, I mean, Carlito was a guy. They're cousin, I think. They're related in some way. I think they're cousins. But Carlito was great. Carlito stood out. He was fantastic. But Primo and Epico, they just don't. They don't have the mic chops. They're good in the ring, not great in the ring. You know, they don't do anything spectacular. They chain wrestle pretty well, but you know, I don't know. And then I don't know what is left for El Torito. I mean, they kind of carved a pretty specific niche for him. You know, they pigeonholed him, so to speak, with Los Matadors. And where else is he going to go? If he goes to another tag team, it just doesn't really fit. Like, I'd hate for them to stick him with like the Dudleys just because the Dudleys kind of saved him. I don't know. It just wouldn't fit. It would be weird. It'd be like when they stick Hornswoggle with people for no reason. When they put him with like 3MB, it's just weird, man. I don't know what is going on with the writing right now, but it's not good. And I understand that they hit peaks and valleys sometimes, and SummerSlam just kind of came and went, so it might be off season right now. But I mean, Night of Champions, I've always liked as a pay-per-view because it is just that. It's a Night of Champions. Everything should matter. All the belts are on the line, and the build-up to this has been super weak so far. Like, almost, again, I'll say it again, it's been insulting, you know. I don't know, man. What else is really bad during Raw? A lot of stuff. I don't know. Rollins was pretty much it. I did like the Rollins Ryback match. I thought was okay. That was decent. You know what Hulu didn't show me? Hulu didn't show me any Kevin Owens or any Cesaro. They just didn't. It's a 90-minute version of Raw, and they cut out KO and Cesaro and somebody else too. I thought was missing, but anyway, I followed on Twitter the night before, so I knew that they were like on the show. But you know, Hulu, thanks for not showing me two of my favorite wrestlers and showing me a countless segments with the New Day, who I like, but you know, them clapping and just chanting and playing the trombone isn't that entertaining to me. I mean, it is in a sense when they're just doing it to get heat, but when they're doing it in excessive amounts, it's like, okay, like, are we going to wrestle? Are we going to do this thing that we call wrestling that is fun for everybody? No, we're just going to, okay, this sucks, you know? What else was going on? Oh, some weird dude rolls up on Rollins down the ring. What the hell? So the writers stink. Security apparently stinks because some dude just rolls up on Rollins. He just walks him down to the ring like it's a UFC or a boxing fight. He kind of walks out with him. Rollins didn't seem too bothered by it. Cena seemed super bothered by it. He, like, this guy was like some ninja or something. Whoa. But coming right on the cusp of a week and a half ago at a house show, some dude jumps out of the crowd and they said he tried to stab Dean Ambrose. That's crazy. And then right around that time, some dude rolls up to the Performance Center and police have to shoot him. Like, this is nuts. Like, what is going on with wrestling fans? Like, just be normal wrestling fans. I mean, I can't imagine that it's people like me who are upset that the product's bad. This is like crazy fans. Like, this is crazy stuff. Don't do this. Come on, guys. Just enjoy the show. Sit in your seat, enjoy the show, and talk about it on a podcast. But don't roll up on some wrestler and try to get in their face. Don't do that. That's bad news. Bad news. Man. Well, keeping with the theme of Raw, because a lot of this stuff is happening, and it kind of goes hand in hand. We can talk about feuds that have just been going on for too long. We already talked about the Ziggler-Rusev feud. I would say put a bullet in my head if Sheamus and Randy Orton wrestle again. I can't imagine that. It's just out of control. Why do they have to wrestle so much? They've wrestled each other every day for like the last 3 months, and that's it. There's no like enhancement matches. There's no build to it. There's no Randy Orton's gonna wrestle, I don't know, somebody. Randy Orton's gonna wrestle Kevin Owens, and then Sheamus comes out and attacks him or whatever. There's none of that. It's just every night, every week, Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Randy Orton versus Sheamus. It's terrible. It's a terrible booking. Randy Orton talking with the Shield 2/3 before his match, and then he just gets pummeled by the Wyatts, and then no Shield run in. Oh my God, I don't understand it. Like when things aren't linear, it drives me banana sandwiches. And they were clearly talking, and I mean, maybe I'm missing something because I'm only catching a 90-minute version of Raw on Hulu, but it just seemed like you set them up to talk. They're talking in the backstage segment, which leads me to believe that Randy Orton is probably going to be the third guy at Night of Champions, which I'm disappointed in. I love Randy Orton. I think Randy is an awesome talent. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. But there's no huge surprise to that. Who knows? It might not be. Randy might not be the guy. But they're kind of setting it up to be. I mean, he just gets attacked, and then, Night of Champions is soon. I'm sure he'd love to have revenge on the Wyatts or whatever. I don't know. But I would like it to be somebody else. The thing with Strowman being so cool was that nobody knew who he was, unless you're Big Bad Harmon and you read deep NXT rosters. Little shout out to the Harmonious, wherever you are. This one's for you, buddy. Hey, it's a Shipyard Pumpkinhead. But anyway, yeah, nobody really knew who he was except for Harmon. So it was cool to see this no-name guy just show up at Night of Champions. If it's Randy Orton, people are going to be like, yeah, okay. And then the match is going to happen, and it'll probably just end straight, like how they've been booking this whole thing. I don't know, man. I'd like to see something better happen with it. Bring up another NXT guy, have it be, I don't know, Baron Corbin. I'm not really sold on either. I've read a report about Baron Corbin, but I'm not really sold on that. I guess I don't have anybody in mind, but I like to be surprised. And this day and age, it's kind of hard with the internet, but they did a good job with Strowman, I think, on that side of things. And if you bring up somebody or you have just, I don't know, just somebody help those two guys out, it would be cool. The thing that I find interesting is that in the original Shield, Roman Reigns was the muscle. He was the powerhouse. And Reigns can't take this guy down, but they're building up. So who's going to take this guy down? It's going to have to be somebody that's bigger than Reigns, which is weird because Reigns is a huge dude. So it's going to have to be somebody with some size, somebody that's good. I know Daniel Bryan his name's been thrown out there, but it's going to be believable, I think. And I don't think that they're willing to really risk that or clear him, especially not in the hands of Strowman, who's kind of a rookie. That wouldn't be a good idea. I'm just spitballing here on the fly. Who could they bring up? But I don't know, man. Something I have to think about. We'll find out a little bit more next week. What other feuds? Oh my God, Divas Revolution. This whole feud has gone on forever, it seems. When it first happened, it was like, wow, this is awesome. Bringing up 3 girls from NXT. This is great. And then you got PCB. They seem to have a good gel, and I don't know. Now Charlotte's gonna. They're finally figuring this out. Like Charlotte's gonna challenge Nikki for the belt, and that's all fine and good, but still nothing really great is happening. Like I guess they're gonna have a match next week, and it's gonna be right on the brink of the streak being, or the record, not the streak, the record being broken. AJ's record of longest reigning Divas champ, which Nikki is going for. So I would like to see her lose it. I really don't think that they will not have her break that. I think that she breaks it in plenty of time. But that's just me. But the feud itself is just kind of going nowhere. Like this Divas Revolution is taking forever. It would be cool to see PCB implode and just be singles competitors. This whole 3-woman team set is was maybe cool at first, but not that cool anymore. It's gone on too long. I would like to see PCB maybe split up. Maybe I thought it was going to happen last week when they were in the beat the clock thing, but it didn't. They seem to be supporting each other. Could be a big turn maybe for Paige, I'm thinking. Paige turns on Charlotte, allows Nikki to retain, and then Paige and Charlotte can feud. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I think that the build has been pretty shitty, and I would have maybe done this a little bit sooner. Because as of right now, like, it just bores me. I love all those women wrestlers, but seeing them kind of just square off and then just have a cat fight doesn't really interest me. I would have liked to seen them, have a match or have Nikki defend the belt or something, not like right at the end of, the brink of the record being broken. Like, she should have been defending this belt all this time to make her look like a strong champion. I don't know. This is like the Miz's title run, like that's what it reminds me of. I don't know. What other feud? I was thinking of another feud earlier that's gone on too long. Sheamus Orton, Bella's, dude. Even the Reigns Wyatt thing's kind of gone on along. The involvement of Strowman is intriguing, but I don't know. It doesn't blow me away. Seem to be a lot of stuff front loaded, and then they just keep adding participants into it, which can be fun if the right participants are added. But again, like I said, I think Orton is going to be the third man, and it's just going to be boring. If Rollins wasn't so preoccupied, it would be amazing to see Rollins involved in that, and somehow, if he wasn't involved in the U.S. title and the world heavyweight belt. I don't know. Speaking of which, what's going on with Lesnar? Where's he been? I know he does limited dates and stuff, but man, you really miss that guy when he's not around. Like, Raw really takes a dip, and without Heyman and everything. So I think Rollins does a good job on the mic nowadays to kind of kick open or kick off Raw, but man, without Lesnar and Heyman, it's severely lacking some pizzazz. I don't know. What else? Again, I didn't see any KO Cesaro. Hulu didn't show it to me, so I don't really know what's going on with them too much, but I would have liked to see more of them. The tag team division's super weak, even with the Dudleys. I don't care about it. The Dudleys, when they came back, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, given my rapport with Bubba Ray, but, that aside, they're a great tag team, and they add a lot of, nastiness that the tag division is lacking. But they seem to be pretty neutral. They seem to come in and, they're almost on Primetime Players' side, and just really against the New Day. So I don't know. It just seems weird. It doesn't make it any elaborately more interesting than it was a couple weeks back. I like that the New Day are the champs, but you got to have somebody chasing that in Primetime Players. I'm just not convinced. Not convinced at all with that team. And I can't even think of any other tag teams. The Ascension's been on TV, but they're just jobbing to the Dudleys. I'd like to see them do something better. I'd like to see Enzo and Cass maybe up. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Probably couldn't name one other tag team that is. Well, the Usos would be nice if they came back. I'm sure the one that is hurt. I don't know which one's hurt. I have no idea. The one that is hurt, I'm sure, is fine now. I hope he's fine. He's been out forever. When they come back, it'd be fun. I'd like to see them immediately thrusted in the title picture. But again, you're going to get a pay-per-view with a 8-person 4-tag team in a corner kind of match. You're going to get Usos versus New Day versus Dudleys versus Primetime Players. That's what you're going to get. It pisses me off that they don't spend time progressing storylines with the tag team division. You could do really good storylines. I mean, God, Dudley's, Edge, Christian, and Hardy Boys, they all had really elaborate storylines back in the day. It wasn't just, hey, let's throw them all in a match and throw some tables in there. Like, that TLC match had storyline to it. These matches are just thrown together last minute. Who can we put in there? Los Matador? Sure, throw them in. Lucha Dragons? Sure, throw them in. Who cares? They can do a they can do a Hurricane Rana, sure, throw them in. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Give somebody a storyline. I don't know. Do something with Jack Swagger. I don't know why Jack Swagger just came to my head, but God, do something with Jack Swagger. You're talking about a good mouthpiece. Zeb Coulter is one of the best. I don't know where he is. I know he's like been hurt, but I mean, he's a manager. Like, what's going on with him? Like, I'd like to know what it is. If anybody knows out there, let me know. But all he's gonna do is come out and talk for Jack Swagger. Put Jack Swagger in a tag team, for God's sakes. And like, Jack Swagger and somebody else could be the main roster. Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, like, they're kind of singlet wearing wrestlers, patriotic guys. Swagger could do something besides just wrestle on house shows and dark matches. Like, doesn't and job to nobodies. They have the talent to make a good tag team division, or just a good lower card could be good, but they don't. Anyway, what else? Let me reference my notes here. Yeah, I think that's about it. Just bad feuds, bad Raw, bad Bret Hart. Like I said, it's going to be a quick one. I don't want to ramble. I've rambled too much. So, calling it a night. I'm going to finish this Shipyard Pumpkinhead, brewed here, Maine. And we're going to call it a night. So, hope Raw gets better. And I hope Harmon comes back soon, because I missed that big, handsome fella. You can catch us on smarkandmark.com. You can check me out on Twitter at Jonny Fashion. You can check my counterpart at Harmon316 on Twitter. Check out Smark and Mark on Twitter. It's SmarkandMark_PW. PW stands for Pro Wrestling, folks. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for joining me. And peace out, y'all.